Hey, I'm Lucy Smith, this is Replay, and today I'm going to be listening for the first time ever to the brand new record from Amyl and the Sniffers. I'm really excited. I've been a fan of these guys for a couple of years now. I think what drew me to them was just their live show. Actually, they've got this real short, fast, loose kind of energy, and even if you're not a fan of the songs on tape, when you go to a show, you'll be converted easily. So I'm really excited to see what this next record holds. Guided by Angels. Now I've already heard this one. This was the first single that they dropped. I think this is a great choice for track one. I haven't listened to the rest, but for me, sets the tone. I reckon it's just got this rollicking, propelling energy. So they actually wrote this record. One half was done during the Australian bushfire season, and then the other half was done in lockdown. And basically they went from touring relentlessly for 2 years, then go into lockdown in a house together. Lockdown in Melbourne, the band are from Melbourne, the four of them in a house for 9 months. So Amy previously talked about with this single that there was just all this energy and just shit pulsing through her that she just needed to let out and needed to get out of her system. And the culmination of that was this record. Just that fuck there, I feel that in my core. So this song in particular, obvious repetition. We're hearing about angels, we're hearing about forgiveness, heaven. I know in the lead up to this record they said journalists are going to make this into a bigger thing than what it is, or maybe try and like gauge a different meaning of it. So I don't want to read too much into the religious motifs, but there is a part of me that's like, okay, why are we exploring this? Why are we going down this path? Angels, angel cards, what's the deal? Fuck! Ugh. This is Freaks to the Front, and I already know I'm gonna love it. That's what a lot of this is just gonna be, just me going, Get on my level or get out my way. Get on my level or get out of my way. Oh, we're on here, lads. Don't bloody touch me. Give me some space. Don't bloody touch me. Give me some space. I'm ready. I think that's something that we need to keep in mind with this record. They're hilarious. Like they just said, freaks to the front. If they don't like it, just ignore the C word. Incredible. It ain't that deep, you know? Freaks to the freaks to the freaks to the freaks to the front. And if you've ever seen them live, you know that this is the energy. It is. It's freaks to the front, but it's such an inclusive space. And one of my last gigs actually before the world went into lockdown in March 2020, just to see young women being able to jump up on stage, be at the front, and then jump into the crowd. That's major, you know, especially at a punk gig like that when you find that they can be a little bit of a male-dominated space. To see that everyone was welcome, everyone was there to thrash around and be one. Freaks to the front, this is it. That's so nice. Everyone in this place deserves to have fun, and that's the vibe. Next track, this is Choices. I can make my own choices. I know we're only 3 tracks in, but just that brah, which actually doesn't surprise me hearing that kind of reference in this song, because Amy took a lot of the inspiration for writing this record from rappers. I've seen her Insta, I know she's a fan of Cardi B, so to just have those little trills in there, just that brah. Yes! It's so fucking punk in its simplicity, just that right there. My choices, my own, my body, my opinion. I don't want advice from everyone. It's just, this is me, my own. Stuff ya! That's my new bit. Sometimes I never know what beat to tap on because they just switched it up right before your eyes. You're just like, fuck, yep, okay, this is what we're doing. I think this song kind of references something that Amy said in almost like the mission statement about this record. She said, having to deal with a lot of authority during 2020 and realizing my lack of power made me feel both more self-destructive but also more self-disciplined, more nihilistic and more depressed and more resentful, which ultimately fueled me with a kind of relentless motivation. Hearing this song for the first time, I know that that's what this is about. Not taking advice, my own choices. This is me. I own them! Yes! Okay. So this is Security. This was another single that we got in the lead up to this record. Everyone, I want to say everyone can relate to this record. Either you've been this person or you've seen it happen. I'll let the first line do the talking.
Security, will you let me in your pub? I'm not looking for trouble. I'm looking for love. I'm not looking for harm. I'm looking for love. Will you let me in your heart? Let me in your pub.
Have you ever been that person? Trying to talk your way into a pub, or maybe you've seen someone trying to talk their way into a pub, just like, let me in. We unpack that a little further.
I distracted you with all of my bullshit. I covered myself in distractions.
Don't know if I'm reading too deeply into it, but it is this notion of let me into your pub, but also let me into your heart. I'm not looking for trouble, I'm looking for love. I'm like, is the pub a metaphor for the heart, for feelings, for relationships, for letting people in, you know, and having that security at the front, just not letting anyone in? I don't know. Or is it just a literal pub?
You look at normies different to me. You look at them with trust.
I love that bit. You look at normies different to me, you look at them with trust. And it's so true. I'm not going to paint them all with the same brush, but you do have these security guards that stand at the front of venues, a group of suits coming from Friday work drinks, and maybe you got a group of rowdy musicians. In the case of Amyl and the Sniffers, we're talking mullets, we're talking leather. Who's he going to let in? Obviously, the suits. You know, you look at normies different to me, you automatically think trouble, different, outskirts. This will allow. Not fair.
Not looking for trouble. I'm looking for love. I'm looking for love. Where I'm not that drunk.
I swear I'm not that drunk. Been there. Oh, that voice at the end, just looking for love. Ooh, punchy.
Take me to the beach. Take me to the country.
I think we can all, as a collective, relate to that. Take me to the beach, take me to the country. I want to feel the wind in my hair. I want to hire a car and just get the fuck out of the city. Honestly, yes. They wrote this across being in lockdown. Melbourne had it the hardest at this time of filming, 6th lockdown for Victoria. So this band has managed to come together, not only live in the same space, but also create this record. They could have been fucking sick of each other by the end. So it's really great to have this, but you can feel in this song the cabin fever. Loving the guitar solos on this record. I want to reiterate, this is my first time hearing some of these songs, and what's really stuck out to me is some of this guitar work. It's crunchy, it's melodic, it's just so present. This is fantastic. That was hot. That's insane. Okay, I'm calling it maybe my favorite on the record so far. Number 5, Hertz. Remember that. Take me to the beach, take me to the country. But when you strip it all back and you take away that kind of edge, really she just wants to go to the countryside. She just wants to feel the wind in her hair. She wants to put her hand on the back of someone as in the car. You know when you do that? That's nice. These are all very nice things. Talking about going to the fish and chip shop. You know, all this content would be at home in any old folk song, but we're hearing it just in this like, incredible. Next song, this is No More Tears.
Wish I could love me for all of my flaws, like I love you for all of yours.
Wish I could love me for all of my flaws the way I love you for all of yours. No more tears left to cry. Ariana Grande walked so Amy Taylor could run.
Building up a bit of
I think it's interesting hearing these different styles of writing across the record. So the first track, Guided by Angels, was very figurative and looking at these different motifs and religious motifs, whereas this one, she's telling us a story and she's telling it from her perspective from start to finish. And I think what's great is that kind of visual imagery as well, but that sensory imagery. We were talking about the calluses on the feet, you know, and even just like carrying my weight, that kind of thing. I see Amy Taylor on stage and she has just this real presence and energy, and she's like a fucking tough bitch, you know what I mean? And just absolutely stares down the crowd and she owns that space. I think even I sometimes forget that a woman like that can actually be quite vulnerable as well, and she has feelings. And in this song in particular, she's talking about a lover and their flaws and still accepting them and wanting to accept herself. Sonically, it's still hard, but it's a much softer side to Amy, which is a really nice thing to hear as well. You know what I love about this song? It's not a self-love anthem. It's not that at all. The fact that we do have flaws and that it's okay to not always love them or like accept them, but still want love despite them. Do you know? I feel like a lot of the messaging when it comes to like self-love is that how can you expect someone to love you if you don't love yourself? And no, like I think we can still recognize and work on and have flaws that we don't love about ourselves yet, but it doesn't mean that we're incapable of giving that love to someone else. So I find a lot of power in this song. Now we're heading into Maggot. Purely on track name alone, I think I'm going to love this one. First time hearing it. I like who you are. To me, you're incredibly hot. I'm interested to see where this goes. Come on, Maggot, put your maggots in me. Everything you touch turns to gold. I can't wait for you to touch me. This is gonna go off live. Can you imagine people in the crowd just singing, "Put your maggots in me"? Oh! I think what's really interesting about this record, and they've acknowledged this as well, is that they're better players. They just are. You know, the fact that they toured so much for a couple of years, both here and internationally, they were doing it. Total workhorses. But when you're doing that every night, night after night, and then doing those rehearsals as well, you just become better. You're better at your craft, and you can hear it on this record. There's so much clarity. The guitar lines are just so slick, but still rugged. Like, they haven't lost that Amyl and the Sniffers energy, which is the looseness. It's just like getting on stage and letting it all out, or getting in the room and just going absolutely buck wild. But it's so professional. Like, I really can't explain it any better than that. It's just so clean, but still dirty. They'll always still be dirty. So that was Maggot. Next song is called Capital. Album reference, comfort to me, what does that even mean? We've heard it, we've clocked it. Existing for the sake of existing, meaning disappears. Relatable. This is a major track. We've had references to politics. Right there, Australia's burning, but I'm not learning how to be more conscious. I think that's something that we've all kind of had to grapple with. The world is burning around us, but what does that kind of individual impact have? We know that half of this was written during the Australian bushfire season. This is where we're hearing it most. This is punk. This is everything. Freedom don't exist, humans don't exist, existing to exist. First port of call should be changing the date and changing the flag. Can I get a time on how many issues we've covered in this song just in the first minute and a bit? Goodness me. We haven't even finished the song yet. I'm already calling this as a highlight because it's just the essence of who Amyl and the Sniffers are, but I think also what they're trying to do with this second record. Amy said something amazing. In fact, actually, I'm going to get it up because I don't want to mince my words. She said, if you have to explain what the record is like, I reckon it's like watching an episode of The Nanny, but the setting is an Australian car show and the nanny cares about social issues and she's read a couple of books. These are the books. This is the moment. This is being engaged and switched on. Capital. Highlight.
Existing to exist, life is meaningless. I love feeling drunk on the illusion of meaning.
I love feeling drunk on the illusion of meaning.
I'm born to be big, so don't fence me in. My body's just a body and my name's just a name.
I love that contrast because I feel like the body theme has been, and that bodily autonomy has been threaded throughout this record. You know, my body's just a body, my name's just a name. It's just a body. But then at the start we're hearing, you know, don't touch me. I love that. I love that it's kind of like the simplicity of it all, but also it's so complex. Consent is so complex and that autonomy is so complex as well. So, and she does it in a very, very short song. The whole time during this record, I've just wanted to like punch the air. It's so empowering because it keeps it simple. Don't fence me in.
I'm in between your set of rules that even come close to applying to me.
You can't limit me. I don't even come close to your set of rules. Again, it kind of comes back to what we were talking about earlier, feeling really boxed in 2020 and having to abide by a whole new set of rules. We're hearing that in this track.
I hate it all.
Done.
All I ever wanted was to walk by the park. Out comes the night, out comes my Knifey.
This is definitely one of those songs where you need to listen to the lyrics. Just that bit there, out comes the night, out comes my knifey, that's how I get home nicely. I think we're going to be leaning into that notion of what women and non-binary people often need to do in order to feel like they're getting home safely. The fact that walking home at night comes with a risk. Hectic.
But you still fuck me up.
Gosh, I don't know how to gauge this song.
'Cause you've been fucking with us. And now we're fucking tough.
I think I have a bit of hesitancy to kind of label this song, like I said earlier, of being like, this is about women not being able to get home safe. But genuinely, I think this is what it's about. Like, it is about that feeling that, you know, we see it in the news, we see these horrible, horrible stories of women being murdered in their homes or being murdered, trying to go for a walk or trying to get home safe. And we're angry. We're fucking angry, you know?
Wanted was to walk by the park. All I ever wanted was to walk by the river after dark.
All I ever wanted was to walk by the river after dark, you know? All I ever wanted was to walk through the park, to look at the stars, you know? It's interesting that as soon as the sun goes down and there's just like, women feel like they literally can't go walking. You have the privilege of walking alone at night when you can listen with your headphones at the same time. A lot of us feel like we can't do that, you know?
We're just not that tough.
That's a very grave song. That's a very grave song. Maybe one of the ones that's definitely hit me the hardest from this record. And again, I don't want to apply meaning to it because I feel like that's quite a serious subject matter, but that's what I get from it and it's very, very powerful. Whew, love the title of this one.
Don't let it come like you to love me. Don't let it come like you to love me.
Yes! Don't need it like you to love me. Say it again. Hear the boys in the lyrics there. We hear them a little bit in some of the earlier singles, but here we go. Rowdy. I don't think I've used that word yet. This is fucking rowdy. This is good. This is where we really get a little bit loose.
PTY, LTD, I'm a businesswoman, run my own company, don't need to kiss ass, my success beats me.
Oh, tattoo that to my fucking head. PTY LTD, I'm a businesswoman, run my own company. I don't need to kiss ass, my success speaks for me. That might be the shortest song on the record. I need to get a time check on that, but that was quick, swift. I feel like that sonically is just what Amyl and the Sniffers does. In that song, it's short, it punches you in the face, it gets it done. It's all of them just as a collective. I can hear that one being rehearsed, but I can also see it in front of me at a gig. Amy probably jumping into the crowd. Oh, if you can't tell, I cannot wait to see this record live. I'm still a smart girl if I'm dressing slutty. I'm still a smart girl when I earn my money.
Everyone is laughing, everyone's laughing at me.
I'll need some music theory nerds to get me in the comments, but what is that thing? Everyone is laughing, everyone's laughing at me. Is it the backbeat? Either way, I hear it and I love it.
I am still a good girl, even if I'm cooked, and I am still a hot girl. Go and take a walk.
We're getting that humor in this song. There's so much cheek, but it's just all laid out in front of you. There's no metaphors here. There's no, wordplay. It is what it is. I'm still a smart girl if I do this. I'm still hot if I look like this. It's me. It's my body. It's who I am. Judge all you want, but it doesn't actually change me. Ugh. I'd never laugh at you, Amy. This last one is called Snakes. So I'm keen to see what type of snake they're talking about. Don't want to go near the word Australiana in particular, but there is something really inherently Australian about who they are. It's in Amy's delivery. We have references to veranda, hot tar, gyprock, gum trees, 45 degrees in the drought, snakes on the grass. This, for Australian listeners, is really going to feel like home, and for international listeners is really going to paint a picture. You can feel it. I can feel the heat from this song. See that coming. She says, I worked at IGA. She actually did work at IGA and worked across all different sections of the IGA as well. We're talking the deli. We're talking packing, bakery, tills. Imagine Amy Taylor, rock star, working at IGA. We all got to start somewhere. So we're getting a little bit of an origin story here as well. She's talking about her background, her parents, what they did for work, what she was like growing up as well. She says, I like work more than education. Doesn't mean that I'm stupid. I just like my independence. Wasn't a loser, definitely a loner. So we're kind of getting a bit of a taste of who she is, what her background is, and what her upbringing is as well. The snakes shed my skin, I like to change. We heard about that earlier as well, that she isn't going to be fenced in, she doesn't submit to any one thing, but she knows how she was raised as well. She knows her origin story, she knows where she's come from. Worked at the IGA and now I'm famous. That just says it all. Ooh. And it ends with a laugh. Listening to that in full, I'm conflicted because I do like that screaming of snakes at the end. I do love that line of, yeah, now I'm famous, see? There's a part of me as well that kind of wishes Knifey was put at the end because that's such a emotionally hard-hitting track and unexpected as well. It's a bit of a left turn in the record, but that could also change on repeat listens. Snakes is a pretty hard-hitting song. I do like that, just going out with that. It packs an absolute punch, this record, from start to finish, and the highlights for me would have to be the guitar work on it. Some of those solos are just so crisp and clean and don't outstay their welcome. Melodies on this are really interesting as well, and I just think it still has that driving heartbeat throughout the record. We want to punch the air, we want to get in the pit and just absolutely let it out. This is hard, but if I had to pick three major highlights from this record as someone who's only listened to it once, the ones that grabbed me were Hertz, Capital, and Knifey. It's got to be those three. Those are the ones that have stuck out for me, just purely based on drive, but also lyrical content as well. These guys have something to say and it's important, and I think if you're gonna just listen to 3 songs, make them those. I gotta say, this record has now become my saving grace because I know on the other side of lockdown and on the other side of restrictions, I get to see Amyl and the Sniffers live and I get to see these songs live. We're gonna get there. It's gonna happen. I'm ready. Take me. Amyl and the Sniffers, Comfort to Me, the brand new record. My name's Lucy Smith. This has been Replay.